Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be purpose, love, and regret. So I've got an email. This is an update to a success story that I did a while back. And this is from the actual previous one was titled Finding Love Again After a Bad Breakup. So it was a really good success story. And so fast forward to today, this particular guy, he was an MMA fighter and he's decided to retire from MMA and pursue a career in finance. So his girlfriend, they've been dating, I don't know, a year or two, I guess now at this point. She's from Canada, lives in Canada, and just got an offer for a job that she's been working for a long time. And he hates Canada, doesn't want to live there, doesn't like the area, but now that he's going into finance, it's possible that he could actually live there. But he hates socialism and socialists. He's not a fan of the Canadian government system, and he just doesn't want to live there. So he's torn, and he doesn't want to be the reason why his girlfriend doesn't, in essence, take her dream job. And so she's at the point where she's thinking about marriage and family, and these are questions that are the kind of thing he's typically kind of joked around and not really been serious about in the past, but now it's at the point where he can't joke around about those things because she's wanting to obviously know what's going to happen between the two of them, whether they're going to stay together or go their separate ways. And so he's kind of at a crossroads. Everything's great in their relationship, but he had moved once before for somebody else, and obviously that didn't work out. So he doesn't want to repeat the same mistake. Plus, he doesn't want to live in Canada. However, she did say that she would be willing to move for him. So he's kind of torn. He's like, doesn't know what he should do. So I got a quote that I wrote in this topic, and then we'll go through his email, because these are difficult decisions, especially when everything's going great in the relationship between the two of them. And she comes from a good family background. Her parents are together. They have a good, healthy relationship. And she seems to have her stuff together. So the quote says, masculine energy is about purpose, drive, mission, succeeding, accomplishing, breaking through barriers, and overcoming challenges. Feminine energy is about opening up to receive love, bonding, connecting, relationships, and family. A man who has an emotionally compelling purpose he is trying to accomplish is the embodiment of masculine energy and what attracts a feminine woman to a man. A masculine man makes a feminine woman feel safe and comfortable enough to trust and follow his leadership and submit to him to be his greatest teammate and cheerleader. If a man is not leading in his own life, a woman won't feel safe and comfortable enough to trust his masculine core to follow him. So let's go through his email. He says, hey, Coach, how is my juicing, loving, reincarnation believing, gun loving guru doing? Swell. Thanks for asking. I would like to be able to get some more ammunition, especially some of the specialized types, because I like to do distance shooting, and it's kind of hard to come by. But I digress. I'm not sure if you remember me, but I am the guy's email you answered in Finding Love Again After a Bad Breakup. Well, yes, I do remember. And I would love to have your input on a thing that has come up that I personally don't know how to solve yet, but would love some advice from you if you happen to choose my email. Well, you're in luck. It's been chosen. Also, I believe you might be able to relate to what I'm going through because you went through it yourself and you wrote about it in 3% Man. In short, the British relationship you had where nothing was wrong, but both just not willing to come to each other. Well, what was going on, he's talking about my English girlfriend that I wrote about in 3% Man, where I had just started becoming a life coach. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I think it was even before or actually I was in the process of writing my book, because she did help me with the first edition of my book because I wanted a woman's perspective on the things that I was teaching, and she was a great help to me with that at the time. But she was getting ready to start chiropractic school, college, and looking at going to a college in Florida, which actually was a really good college, but it was going to be significantly more expensive than for her to go to Bournemouth and the UK. And on top of that, because a lot of classes that she had already taken didn't transfer, she was basically looking at another 2 years of school. And I simply, because of I didn't know where I was coming or going or how long it was going to take to get my business up and running, I really wasn't. The only way we could really stay together is if we got married. And I just wasn't at a place where I wanted to do that, even though we had a great relationship. And even to this day, we still keep in touch occasionally and talk. And she's one of the kindest, nicest people I've ever met in my life. But I was just at a place where I just didn't want to get married. And so she ended up going to school in the UK. And obviously we split up and went our separate ways. But it's tough. Sometimes these things happen. And like for me personally, it took me a long time to figure out, but I have no intention of ever getting married again. I might get married in a civil ceremony, but I'm certainly not going to get married and involve the government in my relationship ever again. And therefore, that's one of the reasons why I don't date women internationally anymore, even though it was fun. It was cool to travel around the world and date women from different countries and get exposed to different cultures, but I'm not interested in getting a government-approved marriage, if you will. So that kind of rules out dating those kinds of women. And same thing, I don't want to travel long distance, especially because air travel has become so absurd and unpleasant. And then plus they're still making you wear masks. And the airline is like, why would I want to do that? So I just like to have a simple life, date women that are no more than 5 to 10 minutes away from where I live. Just be a simple guy, simple life. Don't want any complicated situations. This is part of getting older and figuring out what you want, where you're at, what's important to you. So he says, unlike most guys who don't read your book 10 to 15 times, I have listened to your book over that amount to have the knowledge I have now with women in relationships, that I am now actually able to be the one who gives advice to my friends in my MMA gym. It's funny, I'll give a guy advice on his relationship, and then when the bell rings, I punch him in the face so it sinks in more. That's a true friend. You give him dating advice and then you punch him in the face to really help him remember it. That's a good, true friend. My question stems from making a mistake over again or letting go because of love and respect for the other person. Just to refresh your memory, my ex-fiance left me and she was Australian and lived there also. I had to move back to the US and start back from scratch, which is where I found your book and learned a lot. After that, I met a new girl from Canada and we have been good throughout this pandemic, and she's coming to the States in July to stay for a few months before she makes her way back to Toronto. I've been in my masculine following my purpose and have never been happier. She's also extremely happy with me. She actually checks all the boxes of a calm, collected woman. Women who are easygoing and easy to get along with, like my English girlfriend that I wrote about, are so rare. And so when I come across, whether it's guys that I've become friends with or women that date, man, they are so rare. Because life is hard enough. The last thing you need is a sassy, bitchy woman who's a pain in the ass. When I was younger, hey, I enjoyed that. But as I got older, it's like, no drama. I don't want to deal with any stress. I just want to have a good time, enjoy my life, not deal with complicated bullshit or complicated people. Let somebody else deal with that. She's a great listener. She herself is also driven, keeps in shape, talks to me when she is upset, and never goes to bed angry. Man, that's so essential, so rare. Both her parents are extremely loving and caring. Well, you see where the daughter gets it from. It's actually pretty great, and to be honest, I do not miss the dating world, and if everything goes right, I could see myself with her. She has brought up this fear that she has had on 3 occasions. 2 of them I smoothed over while listening to her and telling her playfully that I love her, and that is all that matters, and then she would laugh and forget about it, but sadly, this last time it didn't work. Yeah, you can't just brush serious issues under the rug forever, especially when you're dealing with a woman who's got a biological clock. Since we have been together longer and she sees me as a future marriage prospect, it became clear that making jokes was not what she wanted to hear anymore. She's getting a high-paying job in Toronto that has great benefits and pension. She has pursued this field before she met me, and finally, now after all of her hard work, she has now been hired. Her fear is that one of us has to move for the other if we still want to be together and make the relationship grow further. She's extremely anxious about this because in the past I have joked extensively that I hate socialism. I hate the cold and I hate hipsters. There are a ton of them there. Yeah, there's a lot of soy boys up in Canada, especially when you look at their sissy ass prime minister. What a douche. What a fucking douche. So I don't blame you. And it's like you give tyrants like that control. That's why they keep you under their thumb. Wear your mask, sit down, shut up, close your business, go bankrupt because I say so, because I can. And more so, I don't like how their government is still making them miss their short summer because of these COVID lockdowns that they have. Yeah. That's the commie, the socialists, collectivists, Marxists. That's their solution to everything is control and regulation and do what you're told because I'm smarter than everybody and I know what's best for everybody and my heart's in the right place because I care. And then you get a sissy like the prime minister they have running everything. For the most, but hey, you got what you voted for, so enjoy. For the most part, I am joking. Delaware isn't an amazing state, to say the least, either. My dilemma is that she is right. And you have also said it yourself in the video posted earlier about me. Don't move to a place you don't actually want to live in. Absolutely. You're just going to be miserable. And you'll make your girl miserable, which in turn will make both of you miserable. Which in turn, if you don't correct that, will lead to the end of your relationship. Because love is playful and fun. I'm actually leaving MMA and pursuing a career in finance, so I am much more flexible with the moving situation. But I hate the fact that I may be making my last mistake all over again. Dude, if you don't want to live there, don't go live there. I certainly wouldn't want to go live in Canada. I wouldn't even visit there. I know I shouldn't compare relationships, and this one is completely different. But in all honesty, I do not like that they have short summers, and also, yeah, the times I have been there, the people there that I have met so far are just, let's just say I wouldn't go out of my way to hang out with most of them. Not to say there are no good people there. Well, no matter where you live, good people are really hard to find. Really super hard. Good women are hard to find, and good men to be friends with are really hard to find. Love is about giving to your partner, and I wouldn't dare tell her to leave her dream job for me. If she did, it would hurt me that I took away that from her, but also I have to prioritize my purpose and what I want out of a career. I've tried to think of the things I like over there, but each time I just come up with 3 things. Jordan Peterson, George St. Pierre, and Poutine. I think I said that right. I love this girl, I really do, and I can move to Toronto, but at the end of the day, I will be moving for her. And that's why you should not do it. You don't want to live there. You're not going to be happy there. And plus, I did a video on this already. So we know that. So we can... And that was my last mistake that I made, meaning the previous relationship with the Australian girl. She fears that, and she knows how I am, and she's told me countless times that she wants to make it work with me because I am one of a kind. Well, of course, because you're a 3% man. And 3% men are really rare. Because most guys just won't put the time in. But I just can't shake my own fear that is brewed up that if I do move, I run the possibility of becoming bitter myself because I chose love over purpose. That is correct. You should not move to Canada. You don't want to move there. You don't feel you want to move there. You don't respect their system. And you don't really even like the people. I wouldn't move there. Fuck that shit. I know that this one is pretty complicated. Not really. But you're complicating it. But I also want to be with her also, and she stated that she would move for me. Well, of course, because women submit. But as a man, I couldn't do that to her. It's not you doing that to her. And I'll explain in a minute. So at the end of the day, the ball's in my court to make a decision. Thanks, Corey, for all you do for us guys, and thank you so much for calling out these puss boys of the red-pilled community. Well, there's a lot of good in the red-pill community. I think Rollo Tomasi's book, The Rational Male, is a must-read for all guys. But there's a lot of toxic dudes in the red pill community that just complain and whine about the fact that many of them have tried to turn hoes into housewives, and now they hate all women for it. Plus, they got mommy issues, and they want to blame everybody instead of just becoming better at pre-qualifying their dating prospects. I mean, these guys sit there and they make videos bitching about single moms, like every single mom is horrible, and it's like, that's just a bunch of fucking bitches that complain and whine about that. I have fucking zero respect for guys that want to blame all women for everything. It's like, be a fucking man, take some personal responsibility for your own life, and do better next time around. Don't sit and cry and make videos about how all women are horrible or the whole dating market is such and such a way. It's always been hard to come by really good people. And especially when you look on the quality of the people that are on dating apps these days, it's like, fuck. It's like, that's why I don't even fuck around with online dating. I've never liked online dating. I've always liked meeting women in person. And over the course of my life and all the great relationships I've had that I wrote about in 3% Man, all those women came from good, solid families. And the reality is there's a lot of broken families in this world. There's a lot of men and women that come from broken families. And the reality is the majority of them are never going to do anything. They're never going to go through therapy. They're never going to fix themselves. And you know what? That's not your problem. But a small percentage of them will. So it doesn't mean that everybody who comes from a broken home is a lost cause. It just means that most people, they won't do the work that's necessary on themselves to fix themselves. And so as a man, being in the dating market or the sexual marketplace, if you will, you have to be able to quickly ascertain what the background and the goals and the values are like of these women. Because, again, these people in the toxic part of the red pill community, all they do is complain and whine and bitch and don't do anything. And in other words, you blame all women. Well, all women are the same. And then you don't have to take any personal responsibility for fixing yourself or improving how you pre-qualify your dating prospects. A hoe is still a hoe. And you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. And a lot of guys still try, and especially a lot of those dudes in the red pill community, they're trying to fix broken women, and then it didn't work out, predictably, and then they want to blame all women. Well, if you keep dating the same kind of people and you keep attracting the same people into your life over and over again, guess what? You're the problem, not the women. You're the dumbass that keeps trying to date them and trying to fix them and be Mr. White Knight, going to solve all their problems, instead of just treating them like fuck buddies, friends with benefits, sex playmates, somebody to have open relationships with. That's it, until you find a good woman. To me, that's common sense, but there's like a whole industry of people that just cry and whine about women on the internet and single moms, as if that's going to solve anything. Anyways, I digress. He says, weak-ass men bitching about and moaning about girls not liking them and thinking of absurd reasons why that is so. So he says, thanks for changing my outlook in life. You truly are an internet dad. Well, I appreciate it. So back to your situation. The most important thing, because obviously you can live anywhere, is like, where do you want to be finance-wise? Well, quite frankly, Miami, which I don't like, I'm not a fan of the traffic, but if you like nice, warm weather, Miami is becoming a tech hub, especially with crypto, because of the Mayor Suarez, who's kind of a fake Republican, but he's doing a lot of good things and attracting a lot of business. So they're building a financial hub, if you will, of all kinds. So there's a lot of opportunity down in South Florida if you're, the Miami area, if you're considering moving. So the most important thing is, where do you want to live? Where would you want to raise a family? Where do you want to spend your leisure time? That should be first and foremost. And as far as your girl goes, she's going to come hang out with you for a few months and a few weeks, as you mentioned. And so I would see how things go. And you got to be honest with you. You say, I've thought about it, and there's no way I'm moving to Canada. I want to live somewhere where it's nice, the weather's nice, the people are nice, the opportunity is great. And you're also at a crossroads. You say, I don't want you to give up your job for me, but at the same token, I'm not moving to Canada. And so really what it's going to boil down to is you're getting to the point where you're either going to stay together or you're going to go your separate ways. And if you love this woman and you're certain you don't want to be... In other words, you got to come to a place where you're 100% certain you want to spend your life with her. And obviously, unless she gets some kind of a work visa, that means you're going to have to get married. Now, me personally, I told you my feelings about marriage. It's like, I'm not doing it. Not going to happen. The civil marriage, sure, but not involving the government. And so that for me, I wouldn't date a girl from Canada or Australia or Brazil or Colombia or anywhere anymore. I had a great time, but it was fun while it lasted, but I'm done. But it's your life. You've got to decide, do you want to get married? Are you ready to get married? Do you see yourself marrying a woman like her and having her as a mother of your children? And so everything you've shared tells me that you did a good job, unlike the douchebags in the toxic red pill community, of pre-qualifying your girlfriend. You guys talk things out. You work things out. She's already said she's willing to move for you. And at the end of the day, if you guys end up having a bunch of babies, well, she's probably not going to be working anyways because she's going to want to be a stay-at-home mom because she came from a good family, so she's going to want to make sure that you guys raise good humans. So the reality is that job that she's getting, what's going to make her happier as a woman? A job and not having you in cold-ass commie Canada, or being with you, being your queen, and being the mother of your babies and raising babies? So that's where you're basically at. And so I would see how things go in July when she comes down. And because again, you're at a crossroads. Maybe you get engaged. I don't know. It's up to you. You have to determine what feels right for you inside. And this whole journey that I've been on for the last about 25 years of my life, that big epiphany that I had when I was with my wife, is that I wasn't being true to what I felt inside. I wasn't being true to my internal feelings. And I made the commitment from that point forward in my life that I was always going to trust my intuition and what felt right for me. And things have always worked out in the long run since then. It's hard to do that, but you got to do what feels right. And as far as getting married or getting engaged to this girl, that's on you, dude. Nobody knows what's in your heart. Only you know that. And so you have to see how you feel about that, how you feel about her, and how you feel about marrying her and having children together. And that should be the determining factor of whether or not you stay together or you go your separate ways. But everything you shared about this girl and the several emails and videos I've done is like, everything looks good, dude. Everything you've told me is like you pre-qualified her properly, unlike the toxic people in the red pill community who cry about women and say all women are horrible. So that's what I would do if I were you. Got to trust what feels right. And I think it was Wayne Dyer said, when you trust, and I don't know who he heard this from, but he said, when you trust in yourself, you're trusting in the same wisdom that created you. That's something to think about. So if you've got a challenge or a question, whether it's your personal or your professional life, and you'd like to get my help, go to understandingrelationships.com, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and book a coaching session with yours truly. Until next time, I will talk to you soon.